welcome to another episode of Happy Hour with Steve Guy. I am your host, Steve Guy, and we are coming to you from All Saints Public House in Cleveland, as opposed to my basement bar. We have another great episode for you. Joining me from the Cleveland International Film Festival for a conversation is Patrick Shepard, plus stand-up comedy from Spyder Jones later on in the show. But before all of that, here are things that people are talking about at their happy hour.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
What's your name?
My name's Steve. I literally just said it 2 times.
I wasn't paying attention. Can I order a drink?
Yeah, what would you like?
I'm not sure yet.
Oh, okay.
I need a second.
All right then. No problem. Well, the president finally decided to wear a mask, and I know a lot of people are thinking he's pretty late to the party, but hey, on the plus side, at least you're not going to be able to hear him mumble a bunch of racist things through that.
Yeah, but we can still see his racist tweets.
Yeah, that's true. More locally, on the island of Put-in-Bay here in Ohio, out in Lake Erie, or as some refer to it, the Florida of Ohio, because of the nature of people packing its pools and bars just like they would on spring break in Florida. Well, recently they have come under fire due to COVID positive testing from people who have visited the island, which has given it the new nickname, Put-in-Bay, still the Florida of Ohio.
Yeah, well, if you're not catching COVID there, you're probably catching herpes.
Yeah, that's probably true. Do you know what you want to drink yet, or you're good still?
I was thinking something clear.
That's a lot of things, with just like vodka, tequila, rum.
I mean, let me still think about it.
All right, you think about that. And look, a lot has happened since the last Happy Hour with Steve Guy episode. I mean, we're here at All Saints Public House instead of my basement bar. Will and Jada went public with her relationship that was outside of their marriage, or an entanglement, as she referred to it as. And Kanye West even announced that he's going to run for president in 2020. Which maybe he's got an opportunity there. I mean, this is a guy who is all about power and the glory. And he may be a stronger candidate than the current president. And I just imagine him sitting around looking at the current president, wondering if he can do that, and being like, hold my liquor. Look, I understand the idea of having to put together a platform for politicians. It's probably no different than those of us involved in fitness trying to put together the new workout plan. And the big question is, who would even vote for Kanye?
I know where this is going.
You do?
You're naming a bunch of Kanye song titles.
I mean, yeah.
I feel like I know what you're going to say next. I'm not going to say it. Seems kind of racist, though.
No. I was going to say he needs to pray to St. Pablo to get any votes. Anyway, do you know what you want to drink yet?
I'll do a shot of Tito's. Actually, I just got a text. I need to head out soon anyway. How much do I owe you?
It's $5.
I only have $5. But thanks for the conversation.
Yeah. Well, let's get into this week's conversation with the Associate Director from the Cleveland International Film Festival. Here is my chat with Patrick Shepard. Mr. Patrick Shepard, welcome to Happy Hour.
Delighted to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we have so many things to talk about because you do so much, even outside of the Cleveland International Film Festival. But like I ask everyone, we start with your happy hour drink of choice.
Well, I will say that I was born and raised in rural Lorain County to the southwest of Cleveland, and Jack Daniels was a very popular spirit down there, and I just kind of stuck with the same horse over the years, I guess you'd say.
It's a popular spirit everywhere, really. Now, is that straight, or are you a mixing guy? Coke, Diet Coke, ginger ale?
Ginger sounds good for me, generally, yes.
Are you into this ginger beer craze over the last few years because of the Moscow Mules, or is it still ginger ale for you?
I'm just going with old school ginger ale, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It's a delightful, refreshing drink on a hot summer day. Mm. But you're not here to talk about Jack Daniels, for crying out loud. Let's talk about the Cleveland International Film Festival. You started with it in 1999.
Mm-hmm.
How did you get involved? Why did you get involved?
Well, what I often say is that I'm the worst poster child for career development that probably exists because I did not take a single class in college for film. I did not take a single class in college for fundraising, which is my primary charge to this day. And I did not take a single class in nonprofit management, which of course I do quite a bit of. So, so it was a friend of a friend who just happened to know about this opportunity for the 1999 festival. That would have been the 23rd SIF. And for me, it was an opportunity to just be more involved with the community. And that's really how I became aware of it. I just tended to volunteer for a lot of things and supported different organizations. And they were kind enough to hire me. So for the first 3 years, I worked seasonally for the festival, which means I just pretty much worked the 11 days. It was 11 days back then of the duration of the festival. And then in the summer of 2001, I was hired full-time as development director. So I've worked full-time for the organization since then, and now I'm the associate director, which mostly puts me in the realm of raising money to make the event happen and community engagement.
It's a lot. You're a busy guy year-round. I think that's that's one thing that maybe people don't see when something like that happens. You guys just wrapped, well, not just wrapped, a few months ago, wrapped the 44th season. A difference, in a different manner than what maybe you've been used to with COVID going on. But you guys did a tremendous job doing the streams instead. Talk about, I guess, first, what does it entail, because you're working on this year-round, and it's a big project. Give us a little bit of behind the scenes that people don't know what's going on.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity because it is a year-round endeavor to put together what's now a 12-day festival, and it was a very surreal couple of hours at Cleveland City Hall on March 11th when we stood aside Mayor Jackson and coincidentally the organizers of the St. Patrick's Day Parade, as the mayor declared a state of civil emergency and announced that the St. Patrick's Day Parade was going to be canceled, as well as the film festival. So it was pretty much a huge sucker punch. Like you just, I mean, first of all, you go through the whole surreal press conference and then you get back to the office and you're kind of shell-shocked, you know, but you know, we got our sea legs back, and within 2 weeks, on March 25th, we had a series of announcements. And that was going to be the original day for the opening night of SIF 44 in person, and which would have been our 30th and final festival at Tower City Cinemas. So that was going to be a landmark festival no matter what. But what we ended up doing is we released our film festival trailer like we always do on opening night on YouTube. We announced that we were opening our online store because we had purchased all this merchandise that we needed to sell. And the anchor announcement was that we were going to present what we called SIF 44 streams in April. And we were so uncertain as to exactly when we were going to be able to do that, because we're more or less working around the clock to make it happen, that we didn't announce the date yet. But by early April, we were like, okay, we are going to run SIF 44 streams for 2 weeks, April 15th through the 28th. And we were so fortunate that the community was extremely supportive. We ended up with more than 42,000 streams, which interestingly compares with our average attendance of the last 5 years, which was north of 100,000. So we knew a lot of people were watching programs together in their homes, and it was interesting that the support was, if you do the math, it was generally consistent with the previous years. And how lucky are we to have an art form that you can put on a digital platform? I really have great empathy for other arts and cultural organizations where it's a lot more difficult to take your art form and make it available on a website for purchase via e-commerce.
How many films were you able to successfully stream? Because I believe there were some that you kind of had to leave off because of this, right?
Right. It was originally going to be well over 400 films, and that includes half of which were features and half of which were shorts, and I'm just rounding off here.
Sure.
So we ended up with, in terms of features, about 175. And then most of the shorts came in, so over 200. So it was in the high 300s when it was all over.
I know that you guys are looking forward to. You touched on it. This was going to be the last year at Tower City, but now you're hopefully going to get into Playhouse Square.
Yes, so that was the big plan for Civ 45. We were going to move to the second largest performing arts district in the United States outside of New York City, at Playhouse Square. And we're so excited and continue to be so excited about our future there. But the question is, when will in-person programming be happening at Playhouse Square again? And of course, we hope very soon, but we also have to be cognizant of the climate and science. Many people will not be comfortable to go into a movie theater until after there's a vaccine.
Sure.
And some might not still be interested in doing it after that. And the other thing that
some people still don't like vaccines, Patrick.
Well, yeah, there's that too. There's that too. Let's not go down that road. But I mean, I will say one positive element of what we found out from the streaming program is that there are people that had not been to the festival for years, for either a physical reason or just some reason that there was some barrier that they were not able or unwilling to go downtown to Tower City to see the festival. But now they were back because they could do it in the privacy and the safety of their own home. So that's part of the reason why streaming will always be part of our future, no matter what.
Kudos to you guys for making that pivot, because like we said, you've worked year-round to get to this festival that's happening for in-person, and then now, within a week's notice, you've got to change the whole game. And you guys did a tremendous job of that.
Well, thank you. And we really do want to get back to in-person screenings. I mean, those theaters at Playhouse Square, some of them were built in the 1920s, and they were movie houses. And I'll never forget the 2016 world premiere of Believeland, the ESPN 30 for 30 at the Palace. We're very excited about our new home at Playhouse Square.
All right, so what goes into selecting these films? Because as you said, over 400 films were supposed to be in this year's festival. And that's not an anomaly. It's typically you have quite a few films. What is that selection process like? Well,
and first, I should qualify this by saying that I have nothing to do with it, but I have very qualified colleagues. Oh, yes. Again, remember, I never took a single class, so I'm the fundraising guy. But we do have two full-time staffers, Bill Gensler and Mallory Martin, who curate the festival. And they, well, in the old days, they would go to other festivals around the world, prospect films, invite them. Of course, that's all happening in the virtual window right now. And then that's one main way. And then the other main way is that we have an international call for entries process. So, and that for this cycle, we just opened up on July 1st. And filmmakers from around the world are invited to submit their films for consideration. And we have a volunteer screening team that vets all of those entries. Last year, we had over 4,500 entries. So it's a highly, highly competitive process. When you talk about the percentage of those films getting in, it's under 10%. And in some cases, you know, for features, it's under 5%. So it's very competitive.
What are some of the successes that you've seen in now 20 plus years with the film festival, whether it is a film that took part in it and went on to see great success, or just something that you've all achieved as an organization?
Well, Film Slam is an education program of the festival. It's almost 30 years old, and it's targeted for grades 5 through 12.
Okay.
So, well, in the old days, the students would take buses and come to us. But we did a bit of a pilot in May, and we put Film Slam streams on a digital platform so that teachers could use it in their virtual classrooms. So we are really emboldened by the opportunity to educate even more students. We think that, since we won't be constrained by the 7 weekday mornings of the festival, and we can run September, October, November, maybe December, and then January, February, March, April, with weekly programming that's relevant. And a great example for this year is a film called We Are the Radical Monarchs. And it really just touches right on the important topic of structural racism and racial equity. And it's about these young women in Oakland, California, who essentially formed as a Girl Scout troop. But the mothers that are managing what feels like a Girl Scout troop, but it's not, are teaching the young women social justice. There's programming like that that can really have a significant impact. Social justice has always been part of the festival. We have an award that we call the Greg Gund Memorial Standing Up Film Competition Award, and standing up being the key terms there. And there have been some life-changing films that have won that award over the years. There was a film many years ago called Matt Shepard is a Friend of Mine, about the young man who was killed in Wyoming in the late 1990s, and his parents, Dennis and Judy Shepard, were at the festival to engage audiences, and they were actually, since the film happened to run on the second weekend, when it won, Dennis and Judy Shepard were on stage. We had been doing closing night on the grand staircase of the Tower City Center Skylight Concourse. So there's 2,000 people in front of them, and the Shepards were there to accept the award with the director, Michelle Hosway. And it was really an emotional moment, where the father basically says, I would give anything for my son to be back, but if he can't be back here, I'd rather be here with you, celebrating his life with this film and this award. So, I mean, there's moments like that at every festival.
You talked about one of your programs, and that's a side that I think people don't realize to the film festival, is that there's so much more going on than people just showing up, buying a ticket, and watching a movie or downloading a stream. What are some of those other kind of ongoing programs and things that you guys do throughout this time? Right.
Yeah, we always like to have moderated discussions after as many films as we can do. One program that was most heartbreaking for me, that was supposed to take place this year, but you could not pivot to a digital platform easily, is that we were going to build out a storefront in the Tower City Center mall. It was an empty storefront, but we were going to repurpose it for an exhibition called Undesigned the Red Line. Right. And that talks about the discriminatory maps that were drawn in the 1930s that ensured that certain areas of every American city did not receive investment from banks, and just the long-stemming legacy that those maps have had on our communities. And if you overlay, statistics like infant mortality and economic development, it almost directly correlates with those lines. So our intention for this year was to have those moderated conversations about racial equity themed films in that space. So not only would people be there to engage the filmmakers and the guests, but then they would be taken on a tour of this exhibition. So our main mission ties to exhibition and education. So informally, we show the newest and best films from around the world, and we try to help people learn something along the way, and hopefully that wants them to help make this community a better place in which to live for everybody.
and talking about making the community a better place, and shift gears away from the film festival, because it's not the only organization that you are a part of. One of those is the CLC, the Cleveland Leadership Center, and I think that it's something that quite a few folks, I think, are unaware of. I know I was unaware of it prior to kind of looking at it. Touch on that and what everyone's doing there within the CLC, because I think it's some incredible.
What it does is it helps connect you with other people in the community, which honestly is the most valuable component of it for me. It's an eye-opening experience in many ways, and I would encourage anybody. And they have multiple programs. They have, and I don't have the whole elevator speech in my head for them, but they have a program if you're in high school. They have a program if you're just out of college. They have a program if you're in college, and then of course the Bridge Builders mid-career, and then Leadership Cleveland is, you're essentially either an executive running an organization or in the top executive team of an organization, and they are really just trying to create an impact and make our community a better place in which to live.
And then the other that you not are just part of, but you are founder, correct? And oddly enough, it took place as we sit here at All Saints Public House in the Battery Park neighborhood of Cleveland, formerly years ago known as Snickers. You got started right here, and go ahead.
Yeah, it is quite something to be in this space, because I have very fond memories here, and just to kind of give you the origin story, Barney Frank, who was an openly member of the United States House of Representatives, convened a meeting in Kansas City in May of 1997. This was not long after President Clinton had signed the Defense of Marriage Act, and there was a need for people to organize in preparation for the upcoming elections, the 98, the 2000, and so forth. So what came out of that meeting was the National Stonewall Democrats, which I was served on the founding board. And then a couple years later, I had the time to find some really good people to work together, and we started the organization, the Cleveland Stonewall Democrats, in this room.
Cleveland is not, to me, it's not a city that went through rough times and then it came back up. I've never viewed it as a rebuild. I feel like we've always been that city that has just not stopped building. What are some of those next things that you would like to see happen?
Well, I mean, at the top of my list is addressing structural racism. Really, until there's equity for everybody in this community, we're all not going to succeed unless everybody has the opportunity to succeed. So that's at the top of my list. The mayoral and the council elections in 2021 are going to be very important. That's more or less what I'm at. But I love Cleveland. One of the things that I'm most excited about, and this is just a sidebar to what this has nothing to do with the grand vision for Cleveland, but what I am so excited about is the completion of the 100+ mile towpath trail. And for anybody who has not been on that lately, on the northern chunk, and I'm talking like the chunk around Sokolowski's in Tremont, I strongly encourage you to go. Some of it is not done as we record this episode. Some of it is still rubble, but it is so close to being done. And next year, I'm sure they're going to have some big celebration about it, but you're going to be able to start at Canal Basin Park at Settlers Landing underneath the Detroit Superior Bridge and go 100 miles due south, through the Cuyahoga Valley National Park, through the Summit Metro Parks, through Stark Metro Parks, and into Tuscarawas County.
We'll wind us down, and I'll, aside from plugging everything, last actual question here. You get to rename the Cleveland Indians.
Oh, boy.
What are you going with?
I like the Commodores.
I'm on the Commodore train, too.
I do. I like the Commodore Perry thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
we already have the beer.
Yeah, exactly. We got the statue in Huntington Park, right?
Lionel Richie can do a concert after the opening night.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Let me get you out of here on telling everyone where they can find information about really all the organizations that you've discussed here.
Oh gosh, well, the Cleveland International Film Festival, we're slated to have SIF 45 April 7th to the 18th, 2021, and you can visit clevelandfilm.org for that. The Cleveland Leadership Center and all of their great programs, just cleveleads.org. And if you are a person of any age, there is a program for you. And I've learned so much and connected with so many good people through that program. So I strongly encourage that. And while I have not been involved since I handed off the presidency in 2008, the Cleveland Stonewall Democrats, you can go to clevelandstonewalldems.org, and they're definitely looking for help in the coming election cycle. And of course, LGBTQ and allies are all welcome, as they always were, even back in my day.
So we decided to create a new game here at Happy Hour with Steve Guy. This is called East Side or West Side, kind of an either or. And my guest Patrick Shepard was gracious enough to participate. So the way it's going to work, Patrick, very simple. I'm going to give you two things, and you just got to tell me which one you prefer. And we're really going to maybe make some people in Cleveland angry that you've supported.
Uh-oh. Don't get me in trouble here, Steve.
All right. You ready?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Easy lob. Progressive Field or Jacobs Field?
Jacobs Field.
See, I started off nice and easy.
Yeah, okay.
East Side Metro Parks, West Side Metro Parks.
You know, I lived in Shaker Square for 16 years and loved the East Side parks, but now I live in Ohio City and I love being able to bike to so many things. So I'm going to say in my present moment, West Side, but it was the East Side for a decade and a half.
Okay, all right. Both of these on the West Side, Porco's Tiki Lounge or Velvet Tango Room?
I'd have to go with Porco's.
Okay. Little, it's the tiki ambiance, isn't it?
Oh,
It draws you in.
yes. There's very few other places like it in all of Cleveland, for sure.
Great Lakes Christmas Ale or Market Garden Festivus?
Oh, Great Lakes Brewing Company Christmas Ale.
All right.
The old reliable.
All right, last one. Mitchell's or Mason's Ice Cream? I knew this would get the Ohio City guy.
Boy, you are tearing the Ohio City guy's heart in half here. I love both, but I am going to tip my hat to the Mitchells because of their incredible redevelopment of that old theater on West 25th Street. That was just a sad eyesore for so long. And now on any given day, even in the middle of the coronavirus pandemic, huge lines, socially distanced lines out the door, enlivening the neighborhood. But it's also true at Mason's on Bridge. So,
all right, there you go. You survived.
I did.
You did great.
Okay.
Once again, Patrick Shepard from the Cleveland International Film Festival. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks so much to Patrick Shepard for swinging by Happy Hour. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that conversation. So much gotten out of it and so many things that he's a part of. I encourage you to follow him on social media because not only is he a champion for the things that he is a part of, but for the city of Cleveland in general and doing different things there. From that, we turn over to some stand-up comedy. Here is Cleveland comedian Spyder Jones, and this was recorded last month in Dayton at Wiley's Comedy Club.
I've been traveling for the last couple of weeks, and it's just been getting weirder and weirder. Like, I live in Cleveland. I went down to Cincinnati for a couple of days, and it was cool till they started burning shit. And then I went to Dallas, and then they started burning shit. And then I went to Phoenix. They just burning each other. It's 103. There's nothing else to do down there. And I was just like, y'all burning too many things in America, so I was just like, screw this. I'm going to go back to Youngstown, because at least them, if you're burning something down, it's just for arson and insurance. It's weird living up in like Northeast Ohio, Northern Ohio, period. Because I live in Cleveland and I have to go visit family in Youngstown and Toledo. If you've never been to either one of those cities, Youngstown or Toledo, just imagine if Detroit and West Virginia had a baby. That is the closest example I can get you to either of those cities. And Cleveland is smack dab in the middle, 90 minutes each way. They're like that lonely divorced kid with 2 shitty parents. It doesn't matter which parent they go to, when they go there, it's gonna be nothing but drugs and trouble. But I lived there, I took it, and it's weird, there's a lot of weird things in Northern Ohio. Like, I don't know about you, because now I'm older now for it, I just turned 41, and anywhere I go now in the country, I judge your neighborhood by how clean your Dollar General is. Some of y'all live near some shitty Dollar Generals, don't you?
And that's it. That's this episode. Thank you so much to Spyder Jones for the stand-up comedy, for Patrick Shepard for swinging by and having a conversation. Make sure you check out everything that both of those are doing. And don't forget to follow us, Happy Hour with Steve Guy, on social media, and subscribe to our new YouTube channel in partnering with Launchpad Productions. We'll see you next time on Happy Hour with Steve Guy.